So I'm going to remove the motor carriage cover, press the button on the back to remove it, and we'll just lay it aside, and we're going to program the remote. Press and release the red radio button once, the channel 1 light comes on, press and release the button on the remote, and the channel 1 light blinks and turns off. Now the remote is programmed. So next I'm going to engage the operator, getting ready to set travel limits, and I'm going to push it a little bit till it locks in the engaged position. It's already there. Now I'm going to give the operator a command with the remote, and the operator can only run in the open direction until it reaches the open limit. So I'm going to use the remote. I can stop it at any point. So I hit the button on the remote, it stops. If I hit it again, it'll continue in the open direction. And I'm going to just use the remote and run it to the open position and stop it. Once you've reached the open position with the operator, then you slide the limit stop in until you hear this click. That's the click you're looking for. Then tighten down the limit switch. Make sure to use your thumb to hold it in place. Just tighten it down until the shoulder on the bolt is all the way to the plastic. Put the string in first, get it in the right position, then put the nose in. See what I'm doing. There we go. And just snap it back in place. Even though I've pushed in the limit stop and set it, the operator still hasn't registered the open limit. It doesn't register the open limit until it receives the command and then registers the limit switch. So I'm going to give it another command with the remote. And the operator just clicks twice, which means it registers the open position now. Now I'm going to give it a second command with the remote, and it's going to start running in the closed direction. And I just let it run in the closed direction and stop it with the remote. So I'm watching the doors, and just as they meet, I press the button on the remote to stop it. Now in this case, the doors aren't joining quite correctly, so I stopped it a little earlier than I should have. So if I press and release the button on the remote at this point, it sets this as the closed position, but I actually want to push it a little bit farther. So I press and hold the button on the remote, and after a second, it jumps forward 1/4 inch, and I let go. Then I repeat that, press and hold. After a second, it jumps forward 1/4 inch, and I'm going to give it one more 1/4 inch. Press and hold, jumps forward 1/4 inch. Now I'm satisfied with where the closed position is. So I press and release the button on the remote. It waits a second, sets that as the closed position, and goes into program mode. And it'll run 1 or more full cycles, and then a 4-foot cycle. It'll run those all by itself. The full cycles are it's setting its force settings, and the 4-foot cycle is it's setting the ramp up and ramp down for the soft start and stop. And then the lights come on solid. Now it's actually done programming, but it defaults to the open position. That way, if you're cleaning up or something, you don't get stuck outside the garage. It's important to note too that the operator defines the closed position as travel distance from the open position. After setting the travel limits, then you just micro adjust the open limit. So you need to set the open limit in a spot where you always have a little bit of adjustment in both directions in case you need to micro adjust it. So HFL programming allows you to use a 4-button remote to put the operator into program mode and mirror the 4-button remote programming. So I press and hold the top 2 buttons simultaneously for 5 seconds, and then the LED light on the operator will begin strobing. Now if I press and release the button on a different remote, it will just program that button to channel 1. But if it's an identical remote, if I hit the button, it will match the way this remote is programmed. So if I have this one, both button 1 and button 3 programmed to this operator, then this one will also have button 1 and button 3 programmed to the operator.